All right, welcome to RPG Maker, Excelsior students. Today we are going to finally learn how to create a map, and this entire game design system is pretty much you getting your characters from one map to the next. That's the whole goal, and that's pretty much how you make a game progress. And so this is kind of what you start with in RPG Maker MV. This is what you start with in RPG Maker VX Ace. So you see on the left side here, we have map 001. And so what you can do is right click it and you get map properties, new map, load sample map. So if we go to map properties first, this gives us an opportunity to change pretty much everything about the map. So the first thing you're going to want to do is name it. And I'm going to name it world map, because this is going to be my most outside map, and you'll understand what that means in a minute. Display name means what name, if any, do you want to pop up when you're walking on this map. So you can call it world map, again, call it whatever you want, or you don't have to put anything there at all. Tile set, this is pretty important. Field, exterior, interior, dungeon. So field is, think of this as far out as you can get. So if you've ever played an RPG where it's basically the world, and if you look at the field, so let's look at some of these tile sets first. So this is what the field map looks like. So you can see it's so far zoomed out that you have entire houses and cities and castles that you can put on this map. If you change that to exterior, that's going to bring you in a little bit, and you'll see now, don't worry about why that changed. It's because the water that was behind here is no longer a tile set. Change it real fast. All right, so now you can see we're inside a town, and we have the ability to make roads and stuff like that. So that's what exterior looks like. If we go interior, we're going to go down one more, which means we're probably going to go inside, right? Interior. And so now we have floors and carpets and rugs, everything that you might find inside. And then we have stuff like this that can be found inside. We have beds. And then even the smaller items, like books and sleeping bags and armor and stuff like that. So these are for your shops and stores and whatnot. All right, so let's go ahead and just clear out all this stuff. And so this is our world map. So we want to go field, width and height. You're going to want to change. You can make this map pretty big. So if I do that, you can see if I zoom out, or I can scroll, you can see how much more room I have now to create a giant map. And so for your world map especially, because what you're going to end up doing is you might have a town in here, and then when you touch this square, it's going to take you to a sub map of that. And then even when you go into one of those houses, it's going to take you to another submap of the inside of that house. So this right here allows you to zoom in and out. So you can see now just how tiny our map actually is compared with the space that we have. So if I hit the grass and I hit the paintbrush, you can see how much space we have. Or maybe I want ocean. I'll hit the shape, I'll hit the grass, I can create a space. Okay, so if you look at these tools up here, you have a bunch of tools at your disposal. So the pencil obviously is going to be, you're just going to be drawing one tile at a time. The square or rectangle, if you want, you can make spaces. I just showed you the circle one. And then the paintbrush is going to cover everything. And then these just let you zoom in and out. so you can see. So we might, let's see, let's create like a desert. There we go. And then we can go in, go back to the pencil, and make sure you're adding. You can't really see anything until you zoom in. Add some trees. Add some of these. You can add these. Add some rocks. Maybe like a weird hole. Some more rocks. There's a path in the sand. You can add trees. And the more trees that you add, they'll bunch together. See? So you can add single trees, or I can bunch them together. Same with these. Got these dead trees in the desert here. We got lava if you wanted to add lava, or this one. And most of them will connect. So the important thing that we want to do is once you get your world map established, you'll create your first little town. So that's one of them if you wanted to do that. You could throw another one here. Maybe a castle. So let's jump over to RPG MV real fast. I'm going to go in, I'm going to hit edit, and I'm going to change it to world map. The tile sets are called something different here. It's not called field, it's called overworld, which makes more sense. And then there's outside, and then there's inside, and then there's dungeon. So if you look at the dungeon ones, the tile sets real fast, you get kind of the spookier cave looking ones. And then the SF outside and SF inside, RPG Maker MV is more up to date. So this just means that these tile sets are going to be more modern. So you can see some of the buildings aren't so medieval. There's actually brick and stone buildings that you can make. And then there's street signs, there's going to be roads. See how modern this is? Electronic billboards, up-to-date trees. There's actual cars. On this one we have like military equipment, up-to-date buildings, park fountains, park stuff, and then that's your region tool. So the biggest difference in the map section for RPG Maker MV, and this is our next video, is the region tool is right here. It's every single tile set on a map comes with the region tool, which is how you'll establish where your enemies are going to be. If I jump over to this one, I have to go up here and click region, and then that's where it shows up. And then I have to go back to my map mode. So you need to make sure you're in map mode. There's going to be a region mode, there's event mode, there's map mode. And that's no different from RPG Maker. You're also going to have your event mode and you're going to have your map mode. Anytime you see the squares, you're in event mode. Click over to map mode to get rid of them. And so what we'll do is we will go back to edit it. We're going to make this way bigger, 150 by 150. I don't know what the limits are, but if you just type in some absurd number, it'll correct it. So 256 is the biggest you can make. It looks like. Yeah. And so all you have to do is click on this, click on the paintbrush, boom, nothing but grass. And then instead of having the fractions in RPG Maker MV, this one lets you zoom in and out. So if I zoom all the way out, you can see how small my character gets. He's just a dot now. That's right there. Zoom back into him. And so all we're doing in this one is we're just creating a map, and we're going to set our character's starting position. So in order to do that, if I click over to event mode and I get my squares back, I can right click anywhere and it's going to set starting position player. Boom, he's going to move there. Same for my other one. Find event mode, it's right there. Click on it, set starting position player. There he goes. And so this is where the game will start and that's where your player is going to start. And so sometimes what I'll do is create some mountains, maybe some big ones here. Let's go with these. Go back to map mode, and if I add a mountain here and a mountain here and a mountain here, and maybe my first goal is to get this player, to go into this town. This is the first one I want. You use the regions, these tools that you have here, to kind of guide them. And so if I make it so that this is the only town he can get into right now, so if you start this game, you can walk in this area, but you have to get to this town at some point and go into it. And so then what we do is we right click, and I'm going to show you how to load a sample map. So the game comes loaded with maps already. So you can see field, these are world maps because they're really big. And then we get into the smaller ones. So if we look at our town, it just looks like a small little, there's a house. So none of these might fit, but if you wanted to add a sample map, you just pick one, hit OK, and you'll see that it's dropped in because it's a subset of this map. Meaning, in order to get onto this map, you're probably going to have to walk into something on this map, and it'll bring you in. So I'm going to delete it because I want you to make your own, and so this town especially is easy. So if I click on world map, this is how you make a submap. Click on the map itself, click new map, type in house. The tile set is going to be exterior because it's going to be the outside. And if you wanted to name the town, you could. Actually, let's name it town. Let's call it Secret Town. I'm going to make it slightly bigger. 30 by 30 is usually a good size. Scroll type. You don't need the map to scroll on these small ones. If you create a giant world one that you want to be able to walk all the way across and then it puts you on the other side, or the top to bottom, you would click vertical loop or horizontal loop depending on how you want it. I'm not going to loop it. If I want a background to show up, so if I'm creating like a sky city, I can put a sky in the background, or any of these. I'll show you how to do that next. And then you can loop those too. So, but for now, disable dashing. If you don't want your character to be able to run, I always disable this on the world map so they can't run super fast on my big map. But inside the map, it's not a big deal. Auto change background music. So once you step into this town, you can pick a song or music that plays in the background. And I would do this for every single town because it just adds depth to your game. Or you can have a sound, so there's like water dripping, or you see drips, or fire, or rain, or something, just small sounds, not music. And those will play every time you step into the town. Specify battle back. If you're going to have enemies in this particular map, you can set what you want the background to be. So you always want it to match. You know, if it's a field, obviously you want it to look like a field. If it's an ice cave or a demon castle like this one, you're going to want it to match. But we're not going to have battles here, so. Okay. And so there's that. So really quickly, I am just going to click on my paintbrush. I'm going to throw some grass in. Let's see. Yeah, so we're going to try to make it resemble that symbol the best we can. So we have grass. I can probably put some bushes around. All right, and then there's a walking path in. So let's do that. Now, let's look at So we need a roof and a building. So we can look and see which, does anything match up the best? This one looks like it might. You can select an entire area like this and do it. Oops, assuming you're on the paintbrush, you can do it. Or if you just want to take this and just make a roof, you can do that too. But for now, we'll stick with this one. And then if I go back to C, I can see that this opens up, which is what I want. Let's see. That's not what I want. Let's do this one. And so I want to transition this piece over. So I'm going to click this one, click that, and then it's going to move, it's going to shift the corner. And so now I need to find this bottom piece. So if you go up to the top one, I'll click it, it's right there. Now I need to close it. I want to close it. Let's close it like that. Perfect. Boom. If you wanted to expand it, you could, but for time's sake, let's just do this. Now I need a door. If I click on B, I can go, there's always, let's go with this one. So how are we looking so far? So far, so good. I can put some windows if I want on this giant building. So let's go there. Let's go there. And then it looks like I have, I'm gonna put a little scarecrow out here. Let's do these. I think we need a fence. Add another fence. So I try to do a fence around the entire thing, just because when you do your transfers later on, it makes it way easier. You don't have to do a bunch, you only have to do a few. So there's only one way in, one way out of this town. I think we need some trees. Add some trees, throw in some other plants. So you'll see this map will start coming alive with the more details that you add. Throw a campfire back here. With some logs. Oops. No, it doesn't like that one. So we can have a sign here if you want. Put some bigger trees in. All right, I think that's pretty good. Let me throw a rock or two in. And so now, in order to go from this map to this map, we will just create a transfer. And I'll create a whole nother video on how to do this, but really easy. We switch to event mode. This is one of the ones that's already pre-programmed. Quick event, transfer, destination. I want to go into the town. It's going to put me right there. Direction, I want him facing up. And so now when he walks around and he hits that square, it's going to move him right there. And then all you do for this house is we'll create another transfer there. I'm going to load a sample map for this purpose. House A. So you'll see it went in again, so you can see each one of them is over just a tick because they're a submap of each other. And so when I leave the house, it's going to put me here, and then when I hit the end of this town, it's going to put me back out in the world. And so your whole game is just going maps to map to map to map to map. That's it. If I head back to MV real quick, I'll do that. In the world map, I'm going to set it to overworld. Get my tile set. I just want a very easy house. Let's go into map mode. Let's get out of paintbrush mode. Into pencil mode. There's my map. If you do make a mistake, just click the little back button. I want to load from my map to make a sample map. If I'm going to bring one in, if I want to create one, I just click new map. Village. Make sure you get the tile set. It's outside. Okay. Paintbrush it. Oops. Grass. Back to the pencil. Real quick, it's a blue roof. Let's find a door. There's a good one. There's a window. All right. I'm not going to do all the other stuff. Move into event mode. Click on it. Quick event. Oops. Transfer. I'm going into the village. I want it to put me here. Retain. No, I want to go up. Go to village. That will be another transfer. I'm going to load just a small house for this one. House 1. Boom. So I have map, map, map. Main map, sub map, sub map. And so you would transfer in, transfer out. And then use the geography that comes with the map to basically guide the characters. So you can give the illusion that the character has freedom, but really you're controlling everything. So in this one, the game starts, he feels like he has the freedom to go wherever he wants, but he can only go here. So then he goes in there, he talks to someone, maybe somebody joins his party, maybe he gets a weapon, something. And then from there, he leaves and goes to the next one. Well, what's the next one? That's where you get to pick. So he can come out here and walk this way, and so maybe then he runs into this castle. And so by using the geography, maybe instead of using mountains this time, I want to use water. So the only way he can get, so let's put some water here. So when you leave here, you're going to walk around, you have to go this way, and you're going to run into this castle. And that's the only thing you can do. And then all you do is once the castle quest is done, create a transfer out that puts you here, and then you're on your way to the next one. And that's how you create maps.